Senator Hernandez, I'm sorry.
No problem. I mean, with regard to what we're doing here at the last minute, I don't disagree with the chair that, we're kind of rushing, and I'm still, believe it or not, trying to get up to speed with the issue. So walk me through the process of the health district in itself. I'm assuming it was voter approved, or was it done through a JPA, or kind of first, how was that created?
It was created back in the, I want to say, late 50s, for 1948, okay, by the voters, okay, as a healthcare district. And at that time, they had no hospitals whatsoever, right? This is at a time, you have to remember, when there were districts, even in Alameda County communities, that were kind of out in the country.
So there's a population growth since then,
yes,
48.
Exactly, okay, exactly.
So the health district that was approved by the voters, I'm assuming its charter, its constitution, it's got a board of directors. That
Elected board of directors.
Board of directors. So it owns assets, which are property, it's rental to physician offices to provide healthcare services, but does not currently in its area have a hospital. Is that correct?
That it does not own or operate a hospital currently.
So the ability to go to the voters within that district is prohibited because you don't have a hospital. And that's, okay, so I literally just got this today.
No,
So
we all did. We all got it this morning myself.
An hour ago.
I'm trying to figure it out.
No, we know.
I'm met with all trying to figure it out.
You met with all of your staffs, and they said, "Oh, I just got this like a few minutes ago."
Yeah. Okay.
I know.
So saying that, and I'm trying to, figure out, which I understand your concerns by setting a precedent, and by allowing the voters. I'm hearing your comments about reason why you want to do it. You want to put it in front of the voters. What are some of the other alternatives as opposed to setting a precedence right now? Because I'm starting to have some of the similar concerns that the chair is having right now.
Yeah, I think we're running out of options.
Yeah.
We're here in what we understand are extraordinary circumstances in the last minute, without a lot of time for you to prep. We understand that it's not ideal, it's not what we want, but we're here because it's the only option that we can see as a path forward to keep San Leandro Hospital open. We've taken other steps, and let me just be clear. San Leandro Hospital was an Alameda hospital. We're recently aligned with Alameda Health System to align them with a bigger system that could provide more financial security and support. That was a step that we took that we thought was necessary to keep the hospital open. It hasn't proven enough. And so we've talked about other options, like the ones Senator Morlack so appropriately raised, trying to sell some of the property and real estate. Those didn't pan out. So now we're here.
Not knowing this area, is there, and because there's a need and the market could bear, is there a possibility of having a for-profit to go in and just build it on their own?
That actually happened, sir, right? So the hospital district, right, owned the healthcare district owned San Leandro Hospital for years. And then because they couldn't make it viable, right?
Sutter.
They sold it to Sutter. Sutter had it, I want to say, for two years, something like that. And they couldn't make it viable, and so they sold it to Alameda County. So we've already been there and done that. That's why that option's not on the table.
Okay. All right.
Senator Morlock. Senator Bonta, just refresh my memory, what was the major reason for selling the hospital and then therefore not reviewing the whole package?
Selling which hospital?
You sold your hospital.
Selling which one? You mean Eden?
Right.
Eden, because looking at the finances of an independently held hospital, it's really hard to make it work. And so they partnered with Sutter. Sutter now owns Eden.
Some systemic reasons for that? Did you make some decisions that...
I didn't personally, because I wasn't there then, but they made decisions at that point where they couldn't financially, right, continue to be able to expand Eden and be able to meet the needs of the community and the ER without partnering with a for-profit. Well, Sutter's not a for-profit, it's a nonprofit.
Right.
And so they partnered with Sutter for a while, and then they spun it off to Sutter. So Sutter currently runs Eden Hospital.
So were certain expenses getting out of hand?
I'm presuming, because that's true of probably pretty much across the state, if not the country, that hospital expenses have gotten out of hand.
Would the pension system have been one of those reasons?
I can't speak to that. I do not know.
I think part of the issue was a freestanding community hospital in this day and age where you're competing against major systems like Sutter and Kaiser and make it very difficult to make the finances work, especially acute care hospitals. There's a similar one in Alameda called Alameda Hospital, where I served
But
on.
especially if you have a defined benefit pension plan.
I don't know if that's the key driver. There's a lot of challenges. You can't leverage third-party good rates on third-party contracts. That's a big problem. It's hard to drive volume to the hospital at the levels that are necessary to be successful. If you have a defined benefit pension, that's certainly one of the expenses, but I don't think that's the driving factor. I think it could be a factor among all the costs.
Why wasn't everything sold as a package? Why not sell the buildings, the land, everything all at once?
Because they would have to have gone back to the voters to do that to start with, okay? And there were other things that they wanted to do, right? As health services have changed, which they have, primary care and prevention care is incredibly important to this district, and that's where they want to go, right? They want to be able to use the revenue that they have
Well, then,
currently.
just to interrupt, they
Okay.
could sell part of their assets
Well, it all-
without voter approval,
Well,
but not all.
Not all, but it won't meet the needs of the demand for San Leandro Hospital, for
Okay.
example,
I'm
okay?
just-
Yeah, right.
I wish we had more time. Let's go do a campfire or something.
I think my senator here that I'm honored to serve with, who represents the same area where San Leandro Hospital is, wanted to make a comment, if that's okay with the chair and the committee.
It's okay with the vice chair.
Senator,
The chairman's due in the room.
sorry, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I do represent this area as well, as I represent the area of Doctors Hospital, which recently closed. We know there are many reasons for these things. The very low Medi-Cal reimbursement rates in communities that are economically challenged is one of them. There are many. I just wanted to point out that what we're asking for today is what every other hospital district in the state has, the ability to go out for a parcel tax. The only difference is that this district no longer owns a hospital, although it funds healthcare services. And simply, as we try to work our way as a state out of our many ongoing problems about funding healthcare and making it affordable, I would just remind us of the physician's adage, first do no harm. Maybe we can invoke that again today and say that this is going to go before any parcel tax would go before the voters. They would have to approve it. This is, this is something that other hospital districts can do, and we'd be deeply grateful if you'd make this technical fix in the law so that we can keep this medical care alive in our part of the state.
Thank you, Senator, I appreciate it. But let me ask you this in terms of the urgency. I mean, I get all that, and I get what you're talking about. I look at this, and it just doesn't add up to me, quite frankly, in the sense that we pass this measure today, it gets out of the legislature, the governor signs it. The only deliverable you get out of all of this is that in November of next year, over a year away, you get the right to put something on the ballot. And then once you put it on the ballot and a parcel tax passes and the votes are counted, then you're going to have a revenue stream that you can then do what you need to do. You're talking about probably a year and a half away. So you're asking for urgency today to get the process started. I get it, for what's a year and a half. Seems to me that there's a lot of interim steps along the way in order to get to goal in terms of that sense of urgency. I know that what happens, and I've been there in a deal and how it works, but whether it's refinancing buildings or whatever else the case may be. I just was reading an article that was given to me about on Monday night at some deal about there's a question about the pay of the CEO of the township and how much money that CEO person makes. I don't know if it's accurate or not. I just look at it and it just concerns me, quite frankly, as much as I'd like to accommodate, my sense of responsibility to the work of the committee on the one hand and to the institution seems to me that there are other options to this deal, and we certainly have January and February, and we have urgency bills, and we really have a compelling case to be able to whether put a partial tax on the ballot if necessary, working out a financing deal with respect to real estate to make it work, thinking about longer-term solutions. I'm committed to helping you on that stuff, but certainly from my point of view as a last-minute Sammer on this thing, I don't think it meets the compelling test that I think you got to meet, because I think that there are other alternatives with respect to how to solve this problem. right? That's my sense. I don't know what the sense of the committee is on this thing, but that's kind of my larger sense. And if it turns out that we're wrong, we do have a window of opportunity come the early part of next year to correct all of these challenges that you're currently facing and solve the problems that you and Senator Hancock rightly address.
I'll just say this, Mr. Chair, and again, with all appreciation for your consistent protection of this institution and the desire to do things in a certain way. Sometimes there's exceptions that are needed. And if there's another path for keeping San Leandro Hospital open, I'm not aware of it. And it's not for lack of trying and exploring. We've looked at everything that you've just said, and it hasn't panned out. Do we know what tomorrow brings? We don't know. But we have to take affirmative steps to get to where we want to be. And I think you've made the case in terms of backing out the sequencing of how we get to a place where we can have a revenue stream. We need to do this today in order to get there. That's why we're here. We wouldn't put you through this if we didn't have to. Doing it as an urgency in January, February, getting it, not having any certainty as to whether we can even put something on the ballot until spring at the earliest of next year isn't sufficient to get a successful campaign going. So again, we wouldn't be here if we didn't feel it necessary.
How big is the hospital district? What are we talking about in terms, since you're not doing the full Alameda County, when you talk about a campaign, how big of a district are we talking about? What's the population of this district?
Around 350, 400,000? Oh, he knows better than
265,000. Hayward and San Leandro.
That's just,
That's just the population served by San Leandro.
right, that's just the population, I was just going to say.
catchment
that's
area.
just-
What's the voter base that are going to make the
I
determination
want
of
to say,
this
I
parcel
want to say
tax is
around
the question?
400. I
I
want
know,
to
what's
say
the will
around
of the committee? That's kind of
400,000.
my broad thinking on this thing. Yeah, sir.
Well, I feel like I'm the only Northern California Bay Area legislator on the committee, so I'm kind of outnumbered. But yeah, I think, and maybe just reflecting on what I said earlier, people don't realize how essential it is not to have the Highland Hospital be inundated with Medi-Cal because the neighboring hospital that took Medi-Cal was closed or was endangered. I think that's very important to remember because the Highland Hospital is the #1 East Bay hospital that takes care of Medi-Cal patients. #1 by far, right, Senator?
That's right.
I mean, there isn't anybody close
How many bed hospitals?
to the Highland Hospital in terms of the Medi-Cal patients.
I want to say 300, but I might be wrong.
It's the second largest
Trauma center.
public hospital in the Bay Area. The first is our Valley Medical Center, then Highland, and then San Francisco General. Those are the three big public hospitals in the Bay Area. So if the Highland Hospital is impacted by the neighboring hospital district not able to perform its function to provide full public health care for all that area, where it's 400,000 people, the hospital will be overcrowded in an instant.
It is
And
now.
so this is what I'm concerned about, and the ability of the hospital to function, given the Medi-Cal rates that they're receiving, they're taking, I don't know, what is the percentage of patients at Highland that are the Medi-Cal? It's probably one of the highest in
Yeah,
the
it's
state.
overwhelming.
It's probably one of the highest in the state of California. And I think that that is the #1, that is a reason to be very sensitive to the critical nature of protecting this particular district. So I think the issue overwhelms some of the questions that we might have about the timing and uncomfortableness about this measure, because I think we should do all we can to make sure that the downside doesn't happen. And that's what I'm concerned about. And so that would be my reason for supporting this.
Okay.
And we all have concerns. There's clear law that says that we can do this. The what if somebody else tries it? Yeah, we can talk about that. We have time to do that. But right now, today, we don't have that kind of option. So we have one particular proposal for us, and I would say Highland Hospital and the district that they're talking about is worth taking a chance on this. So that's my opinion.
Okay.
As a Bay Area.
Anything further, anything further in your close?
Just very quickly, I agree entirely with Senator Bell's assessment of the need to keep this hospital open, not just to serve those patients in that catchment area that need serving, but if it closes, it puts greater stress on other points in the healthcare system where disadvantaged communities that are already being underserved will be even more underserved. And I just wanted to answer the chair's question about the number of voters and the scope and size of a campaign. There's 169,000 voters in the healthcare district.
Okay, thank you so much. I was trying to get a sense. And when would the election be held? It proposed? Is it November? November. That would be should. Yeah, because, I mean, going to Senator Bell's point, he's correct, okay? We've got to have delivery system. You were losing money. I saw your numbers, $12 million, your losses of numbers. What happened? You made a deal with Sutter. You tried to lay it off to them. You got in a lawsuit. You lost a lawsuit. You're trying to solve it. You're saying, okay, how do we save this critically important institutions? You're saying, okay, let's try a parcel tax for over a year and a half from now by the time it has any impact. And I'm suggesting to you that when I look at the big picture, not only, I mean, I'm just worried about the precedent, number one. Two, I'm worried about, this last minute Sam stuff that worries me. And I think there's alternatives. And I would only suggest that one of the great things, and we'll see if there's a motion on this at the end, is that, we look at the big picture. We're looking at November ballot. How many taxes are going to be in the November ballot? What's that November ballot going to look like? Are we going to have a transportation tax on that ballot in order to determine what to do? Are we going to have something to do with Prop 30 of what to do? What's the impact when we analyze that ballot of the voter-rich Alameda County voters and whether this impacts them? Because we want to solve an urgent near-term problem. I only would suggest that there's a really thoughtful way to step back for a minute without because it's not like tomorrow you're doing an appropriation and it's going to solve the problem. This is a bigger picture think about how to get to what we want to do. And in my view, there's a real risk in terms of the larger tax picture on what you're going to do when you now have another listed tax on a ballot. Now, maybe people will vote for that in Alameda County. I'm not I'm not knowledgeable enough to know. I just think you got to weigh that as coming in with this urgent one-time decision, and I think you got other options in that play. I'm happy to help work with you and try to think through some of those and help you on the balance sheet stuff to help you on that, because I think it's a compelling story, but an importance to real people's lives. But I just don't see it. I don't see it. So is you have what's the committee? Anybody have a motion, or you have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, moved. Close is done. Anything further?
The only thing I'll say is this, to your point about when the revenue comes in and whether it can help and how it's not an appropriation, the moment it's passed, there's certainty that there will be this revenue stream for numerous years in the future, and you can immediately start bonding and borrowing because you have a financial revenue stream that can do for debt service.
To do all that paperwork and what that really takes in the real world. It's a matter of months. It's not overnight. You might be.
It's not overnight, but the certainty of a future revenue stream is immediate.
It's important. There's no question. Okay.
I'll get you a better bond lawyer.
Secretary, call the roll.
Hertzberg?
No.
Hertzberg, no. Wynn? No. Wynn, no. Bell?
Aye.
Bell, aye. Hernandez? Laura? Morlock?
No.
Morlock, no. Pavley? Pavley, aye. You have 2-3.
2-3 matters on call. Thank you so much. Appreciate it much.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and
Thank
all
you.
members and staff for your consideration.
Very good. Okay. Senator Eggman, AB 199, file item number 2. Before you start your presentation, Dr. Eggman, I want to make a point of personal privilege that I share with many members of my House, and I want to tell you with the greatest amount of sincerity how moving you were, how thoughtful you were, how passionate and intelligent you were in your remarks yesterday. I have watched in my 42 years in and around this building a lot of speeches, and that is at the top of the heap. And I just want to tell you from a personal level, it was phenomenal. Present your bill.
So before she does, I'd
Please.
like to add on to that. I don't think you knew in the Senate, we were in Democratic caucus, stopped eating, riveted. You could have heard a pin drop. That was a magnificent presentation.
Magnificent.
Not only heartfelt, but the history, we had no idea.
No idea.
So now you're, sort of the orator.
Very good.
of 2015. So it's quite a title, and really impressive on substance and the passion.
Okay. AB 199.
Thank you. I hope that bar is not set too high. Now,
Don't.
I'll be expecting
We
the same thing
expect that
today.
today. Don't screw up.
That's only
'cause
for
if you don't
special
make that,
occasions.
you ain't
Only for
voting
special
your bill.
occasions. Thank you very much for hearing this today, and I hope you don't consider me a Samantha come lately. This bill
No,
was,
your bill was held.
It was,
It's a
our bill was
completely
held.
different story.
We're
No,
making
your bill
jobs
took
out
us
of
slow in the
trash.
process. You're in a
Yes.
completely different
Okay.
situation, so don't worry about.
So
don't
thank you
have
very
to worry
much.
about addressing that. We get
Okay,
that.
so this, I believe this is a great bill. This is a bill that I've been working on issues like this since I was on the Stockton City Council, where we are a very gritty area who struggle financially and have come together as a community to say, how do we really make things happen? And one of those ways we know is through the abundance of trash and stock that we have that can be turned into jobs. So that's what this is about. So thank you very much for taking the time to hear this. AB 199 will incentivize recycling projects to expand in California under an already existing program called the California Alternative Energy Advanced Transportation Financing Authority, also known as CATFA. It's an existing CAP program that has never been fully used in its existence in 2010. And specifically, under this bill, recycling projects will be eligible to receive a sales and use tax exemption if they prove an economic and environmental benefit for the state. This will ensure all projects that receive an exemption provide a net benefit to the state. Instead of exporting the valuable resources that we have, we can invest in our infrastructure of our recycling sector. With this bill, waste will be recycled instead of being exported overseas or sent to landfills. Keeping more of these valuable materials will create jobs and support our mission to lower greenhouse gas emissions. Again, nothing gets approved unless it shows a net benefit to the state. This is a fund that is already there, not being used to its full potential, and we have many excited witnesses who will be passionate and articulate.
And quick.
And brief.
Because the last one took a lot of time, and I think we have a motion, don't we? I think it's a motion by Senator Pavley, so you can be brief.
Even briefer.
Even briefer, that's right.
It actually helps your
It helps your cause. Let's move.
Nick Lapis with Californians Against Waste. We're exporting $8 billion worth of recyclables overseas. If we kept them here, we could create 110,000 new jobs in California.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Michael Shaw, California Manufacturers and Technology Association. We think this makes sense, helps incentivize opportunity for growth in this
Perfect.
industry.
Thank you very much.
Justin Mullen of the California Compost Coalition. We'll be some of the folks who will get those jobs.
Perfect. Madam Treat.
Paula Treat, on behalf of the plastic PET recyclers, in favor. Great job, Bill.
Eloquent.
Erin Nimlo representing Replanet in support of the bill.
Perfect. Thank you.
Jim Urban on behalf of Waste Management. We support it.
Thank you.
Here on behalf of the City and County of San Francisco, California chapters of SWANA, and the California Product Stewardship Council, all in support.
Thank you.
Sylvia Solisha on behalf of City of Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti in strong support.
Thank you.
Linda Escalante with the Natural Resources Defense Council in strong support.
Thank you.
Kim Schreiner on behalf of Stop Waste in support.
Thank you.
Marcela Gutierrez with Azul in strong support.
Thank you. Opposition? Hearing and seeing none, you may close.
I respectfully ask for your vote.
We have a motion by Senator Pavley. Secretary, call the roll.
Mr. Chair.
Oh, was a question? Oh.
Who takes the sales and resale or the use tax hit? Is it this?
It's a fund that is already existing, and so it's a loan loss. And our treasurer approves.
So no city or
Nope.
county takes a hit?
Nope.
2008. Bob, would it work on the energy efficiency discussion we had prior to this?
I think so. It could be. I think it's good. No, it's great.
Yeah, I'm
It's really
just
smart.
saying,
Yeah,
read the
100%. Okay, so this is due pass Senator Pavley to appropriations, Senator Lars Committee? Okay, that's what it says, due pass to appropriations.
That's where the real.
Okay, anything further? Secretary, call the roll.
Hertzberg.
Aye.
Hertzberg, aye. Wynn. Wynn, aye. Bell. Bell, aye. Hernandez. Hernandez, aye. Laura. Laura, aye. Warlock.
Aye.
Warlock, aye. Pavley. Pavley, aye. 7-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That measures out. Let's open the roll on the first file. Was it file number 1, AB 72 by Assemblymember Bonta. The motion by Senator Bell, due pass to the floor. Chair voting no. Vice Chair voting no. Secretary, open the roll.
Hernandez. Hernandez, aye. Laura.
This is the Bonta measure. You're the swing, baby. It's 3-3.
You're the swing.
It's 3-3. I voted no. Do what you choose.
Aye.
Oh, measures out.
Laura, aye.
Laura's out. 4-3. Measures out. You got it.